The other thing that Instagram keeps telling me is nobody ever said your New Year's resolutions had to be for good.
True.
They could be for evil. They could be for chaos. They could be for weird. You know? So, like, maybe your New Year's resolution is to bury yourself in yarn. In which case, good luck with that. Maybe get a snorkel.
I could do it.
You could do it.
I could do it.
You could do it, yes.
Yeah.
I do recommend a snorkel.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
All right, I'm Rebecca.
I'm Stephanie.
And we are
Knit
Camera Action. And I found the correct yarn. Hooray.
Hey!
Don't know where my stitch marker went.
Where did
You know what?
go?
We set this up really well.
We so did.
We so did.
Stitch marker has
you know what? It's just wandered off.
disappeared.
Turns out I have a couple others though, so it's okay.
Wow.
I know, it's great.
What a crazy random happenstance.
Whoever would have guessed that
Indeed.
in my yarn room I would have other stitch markers.
I have like one of those little 3-drawer plastic things.
Yeah.
It's like this tall that is full of stitch markers.
Sure. So I got like a charm bracelet bangle.
Oh.
And I put my stitch markers on that, which is really nice for like the claspy ones, like the progress marker stitch markers, because you can like take them off wherever. But it's not as great for the ones that are like legit stitch marker closed loops, because then you have to take them off in the order that you put them on, and sometimes that gets a little awkward. So yeah, but it's all good. We found it anyway. Today, hello, we are here, and we are going to be talking about next year, because it is that time of year.
It is.
It is currently the end of December.
It is.
And
you know it's true because we're using Happy Holidays mugs.
I have one too. It's over here. I'm going to not do that so that I don't drop it.
No.
It was requested that we do a bloopers reel. I don't think we want that much of a blooper reel. Yay! Happy Holidays. Woo!
Spicy.
I think the cats are going to stay out, so I'm just going to put it on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, so we are now going to talk about next year.
Yeah.
And what we think is going to happen next year.
I think I'm going to finish some projects.
Yeah, that's good.
I know this because I finished,
You finished
5 projects since Thanksgiving.
Yes, you have.
I don't know what's gotten into me, but I like it.
You got vacation.
Yeah.
You had time off of work is what happened to you.
Yeah. That certainly helped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Turns out when you don't have to go to work, there's like a lot
There's
of stuff
a
you
lot
can do.
of things that you can do, and sometimes that's knitting. So there you go. But yeah, we're gonna talk about what our plans are for next year. We're gonna talk about how we're gonna monitor those plans, and we're gonna talk about what's gonna happen at the end of those plans. And do we have any of these plans like worked out in advance? No, we do not. We're gonna talk about that all with you because A, that is actually how it happens, and B, why not?
Sure, why not?
Right? Why not?
I was actually like, wow, we're going to do all this. I did not plan for this.
And it's like, that's the point.
We didn't plan for this.
We're not planning for this. We're having a conversation.
Perfect.
So you can kind of roll your eyes at me, and that's fine, because you're like a counselor. And you talk to people, and like part of your training of being a counselor was like setting goals and like doing things and like how do you measure personal progress, and things like that. So I'm gonna say stuff, and if you think it's silly, you can disagree with me.
They also go over not rolling your eyes at people when they make these sorts of goals. So I feel pretty good, although I'm on video, so who knows?
You're on video, let
Build
us
the
know if there's eye rolling. On the other hand, I'm giving you full permission to roll your eyes, and that's perfectly fine. So I've kind of gotten to this point in my life where, like, honestly, I'm not really so concerned with the end result as long as I'm going in a direction. Right? So several years ago, I think, maybe just 1 year ago or something like that, there is a different knitting podcast called the Stash Down Diaries, and the knitter's name is Jen, and she said a thing that someone in her family said at some point. It was like this phrase that was in their family, but it was progress is a direction, not a speed.
Okay.
So, and then kind of going along with a little bit, of like the self-help productivity guru bros, fine, whatever. But one thing that I do like from them is, like, from Atomic Habits, you go with the systems, you work on your systems, and then the goals happen. You design your systems to achieve your goals, and then you just stick to your system, and you don't have to, like, catch up or things like that. So that's kind of more the direction I'm thinking. What are your thoughts? Professional or otherwise?
I like those things.
Yeah.
I'm a progress, not perfection type mantra in my head.
Mm-hmm.
One of my issues is that I do get hung up on finding the perfect project for the perfect yarn, for the perfect everything. And I have broken out of that mold a good bit in the past year or two. But I'm really curious as to where yours is leading you.
You know, so am I, because honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
But, so one of the things that, like, really has worked for me really well in the past couple of years, as, you know, I just always feel like this time of year, everyone's talking about, like, oh man, I need to stash down. I need to, like, get rid of all of the yarn that I have. Oh. You know, like that kind of thing. And while it is not that, I don't mind having yarn around, because, not to brag or anything, my mom called me randomly one day. The call wasn't random, the conversation was. And she's like, I want a circular yoke sweater. And I was like, okay. Which was a weird thing for my mom to say, but whatever. And I was like, hey, I have a sweater's quantity of this yarn. And she's like, oh yeah, okay, I like that yarn. I was like, all right, fine. What color do you want with it? She's like, I kind of want this yarn with it. And I was like, okay, I have a sweater. I have enough, like, accent of this. So, and I gave her choices of the circular yoke pattern, like color work patterns that I already had, that I had already purchased. Mm-hmm. And then I showed her yarn that I already had. And so it's kind of one of those girl math situations. But this year for me, it totally seemed in my head like my mom's Christmas present was free, because I just pulled yarn out of stash and I pulled a pattern that I already had. And, you know, you can't do that if you don't have a stash.
Right.
You know, you have to have yarn on hand in order to be able to use your yarn on hand. So, like,
yes,
I don't mind having yarn around, but at the same time, I do want to kind of, like, keep an eye on it and make sure it's not really overwhelming the house. So I have been tracking my yarn for the past couple of years with my bullet journal. Now, I am not a fancy bullet journal person. I'm getting my journal here. And this is really all I use my bullet journal for like the past 2 years. But what has worked for me, it turns out, is I just make a nice little chart here. And each of those squares, this is not up to date because we actually just got back from yarn shopping, which we could go into that later or not. But anyway, each of these squares is 10 grams. And then when I finish a project, I weigh it and I say, hey, I used this much yarn. And that is how I keep track of it, and I go on from there. And it's, you know, it's not something that I have to do daily, so that works for me. It's only something that I have to go to when something happens, when I buy yarn, when I finish a project, something like that. And yeah, so that's one thing that's worked. And again, it's kind of a system, and I kind of keep an eye on it of like, hey, did I you buy a lot of yarn or fiber or whatever this last month, September for some reason, then, you know, maybe I won't buy any more yarn for a while until like those numbers kind of even out and things like that. So that's kind of one of my most useful systems. Also, sorry if you're hearing weird noises. I think my husband is like chipping away at ice that's outside. So
Fine.
any weird thumping noises, that's what's going on. How do you keep track of your yarn, Stephanie?
I keep track of my yarn in a completely different way.
Yep.
And I have also, I like having a stash, much like you do,
Mhm.
but I also have been in a love-hate relationship with the stash for a long time.
Yeah.
Since I had way less stash, I was trying to have less stash, and it just did not work for me to say, like, I'm, you know, cold sheeping or going on a diet or any of those type of phrases.
Right.
Like, it just backfired tremendously. And I kind of don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I have a lot of yarn. That's not going to change in a year.
Right.
But what I can do is stay on top of it and keep crafting and just craft my little heart out and see where it goes. So that's kind of where I'm at. I do like seeing progress. I liked looking at my year-end graph to show my yarn in and my yarn out. And even though I had more yarn in than out, like, Joann's closed this year.
Joann's closed, yeah.
R.I.P. Joann's. So, like, that's an opportunity that is not going to come around again.
No, yeah, you did, and that was really most of your yarn buying this year.
Yes, it was.
Because, like, we had the graph in a previous video, and it was like, not so much, and then there was like the big Joann's purchase, and then not so much.
Yeah.
So really, probably, I haven't like analyzed your graph or anything, but probably if you hadn't done the Joann's purchase, you probably would have used more than you bought this year, because Stephanie was what, like 15 yards?
15,000.
But you were 15 yards off of 15,000.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I've beaten
a whole baby sweater ago.
Yeah.
And a couple other projects.
Yeah.
So yeah. So like, yeah, 15,000 yards. That's a lot of yarn.
Yeah,
That's a lot of yarn.
It is. And I like being able to go to my stash and say, I want to make a baby sweater.
Right.
I know, I'll make this one with this yarn and be done. I like having a mini yarn store at my disposal.
Yep.
And, well, it's a good thing because that won't change anytime soon.
Nope.
So, the way that I track my yarn, though, is by yards, which I know every system has pluses and minuses.
Yeah.
I like tracking by yardage. I'm honest with my yardage, meaning that, like, when I have hand spun, I track it as both grams of fiber out and yards in. So I feel like I really have a handle on what I have.
Yeah. Like, you know, if you're looking at, which also is really nice, because you know that then if you're looking at, say, an asymmetrical triangle pattern for some reason, for a shawl, you'll know, like, hey, is this skein of hand spun reasonably gonna make like a reasonable shawl, or would that be like a shawlette, or would that be, you know, whatever? Because, you know, not necessarily every single pattern, but most patterns are like, you need this much yardage, and especially when you're dealing with hand spun.
Right.
Yes, there are general guidelines, but like, I always end up with fewer yards of hand spun than the weight standard, you know? So it is good. Whereas I do grams used versus grams in. So I do double count my fiber, because I bought it as 100 grams of fiber, and that was 100 grams in, and then I used it by spinning it, and then I used it again by knitting it. So like, I did use it twice. So in my mind, I get to count it twice.
That makes sense.
But yeah, I also go by weight instead of yardage. And one of the reasons that I chose to do that, which it's not better, it was just less math. Because it's like, yeah, whatever the project is, whether it's a whole sweater or a baby sock, I can just stick it on a scale, and it's just really easy.
That's true.
But I think the downside is that when you're using thinner yarn,
yes,
you end up making a whole giant, big, huge thing, and it's like 4 grams.
Yeah.
Whereas it works out a little bit better for you, because even if it's 4 grams, it was still 800 yards.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I get to use my hand spun twice. So, I don't know. So that's kind of how we've been tracking it. That's how we like to track it. I also was talking to Stephanie behind the scenes.
Dun, dun, dun.
That I thought it was really nice that we both have very different methods of tracking, because then it's like so much harder for either of us to be like, oh, well, I knit more than you. Because if we were both in yards or if we were both in grams, those kind of comparisons are pretty inevitable.
Right.
You know? But yours is in yards, mine is in grams. We both know that we're using multiple weights of things throughout the year. There's really no functional way to compare those things.
Right.
So we're just like, yay, we used yarn.
Yeah.
Good job, us.
Yep.
And it makes it just so much easier.
It's very cheerful.
It is. It's very nice. Not that, you know,
not
you should
cheerful is the middle of the
find
state.
a yarn bestie and be like,
Collapsing
okay, this
itself.
is your unit that you have to use.
Right. Just assign units to people.
Right.
That's better.
Yeah.
I do get competitive, and I appreciate that we don't have to feel competitive about these things, because, we're just going. We're vibing.
There we go.
Do you have a goal for this year?
You know, okay, so here's the thing. We had discussed previously, again, behind the scenes, that between the two of us, we were going to try and get 26 whips taken care of. Now, again, Stephanie has already finished quite a few of those.
Yeah.
Since we had that conversation.
And it was supposed to be
haven't made it
2026. Like, yeah, I
think since we did that video, you finished 5. I think we had 31 at the time.
Have I mentioned the whole setting a goal, doing the opposite thing? Because that's me.
That's you. And I mean, like, I'm working now on the Weekender sweater, which I'll hold it up. I think this is the back, but I've got some stripy sleeves here. I think when we had started that video, this green yarn here, I had just frogged it from the Pants Needed Tee. So we've been doing a few things. So that 26 whips in 2026 is not necessarily a valid thing to do.
I think we're going to have to count it from that video.
I think we're probably just going to have to count it from the video. Yeah, that's reasonable. Because otherwise...
Because we make the rules.
That's the other thing.
It's 2026-ish.
Right.
It's the season.
It's
like meteorological spring.
Sure.
Like it starts March 1st, even though it doesn't.
No.
It's fine. It's...
Yeah. So we'll count from that video, which is fair.
It's yarnological math.
Yep.
There you go.
We called it, for that particular purpose, the end of 2025.
Yep.
But I'm still tracking 2025 in my bullet journal. But we don't need to talk about those things. It's fine. Just go with it. But... I think something that worked really, really well for me last year, because like I do like to use things. I like to use the things that I have. My actual goal though, 1, I still do need to finish the Burke sweater.
Oh yeah.
That's the big one. That is my big one. But I was taking a break from the Burke sweater because the cables were hurting my hands.
Important.
But then
it's important
to take a break when your hands are hurting, because like you need to. Hurting is bad. Yeah. But then I had started a bulky weight hat that had cables, and I was doing the thing. It was a left-leaning cable, and I was doing the thing where I was like cheating the cables by like sneaking through and knitting and then knitting it back, kind of like how you would do like a purl through the back loop, except it was a knitting. And for some reason, that was also hurting my hands. So then I did the second half with like actual cable techniques and not a hack, and my hands didn't hurt. So I think I'm just gonna have to pull out a cable needle, and then hopefully I can finish the Burke sweater. So that's the big one. The other one is, of course, I've got some pretty big blankets. One of them is just a scrap blanket, and so I'm not really worried about that, but I do need to get caught up on the geek along. What does work for me, though, is to set specific times or ideas, kind of a thing. Do you want to come up here, Leo? The cat is down. I'm sorry, the manager is down sniffing. He has to inspect all the yarn things, but he's not staying. Sorry. He's just inspecting. But it works best for me, like in the past, spinning while listening to the Harry Potter audiobooks. And then also the manager likes to enforce spinning for an hour a week, so he can watch the spinning. He really likes to watch my spinning wheel. So like those kinds of, again, systems are really helpful. So I think what I'm going to do, because again, the Burke sweater is for my mom, I think I'm going to work on the Burke sweater, which is a complicated pattern that I need to look at. So I need to have something that I don't need to actually watch, but obviously I want to watch something. You know what it's going to be?
What's it going to be?
Gilmore Girls.
Oh, excellent.
Right? Because there's plenty of, Gilmore Girls to watch to finish a sweater, to do a sweater. And then also it's like moms and daughters,
Mm-hmm.
And also it's a cable knit sweater. It's very Gilmore Girls.
It is.
So just like all around Gilmore Girls,
They're very cozy.
They are very cozy. So I think those are kind of my systems that I have. The other thing that I've been kind of considering, which worked really well for me one time back in the day when I was finding that I was buying too many books, which, the book stash, the TBR is kind of very similar to like the yarn stash, where it's so much easier to buy a book and so much faster to buy a book or a skein of yarn than it is to read and or knit it.
Yep.
But what I would do is I would like assign a monetary value, and it was basically because it was books, $1 for every 100 pages. So if it was a cute, quick little short book that was 300 pages, then I would earn $3 that I could then use towards future book purchases. And that worked pretty well for a while, and it just made me like slow down and read the books I had before I could get new ones. But then also like it was really nice because I wasn't avoiding any particular books for being too long, because then if I was doing a longer book, that was worth more.
Right.
So like I might do something like that where like a chunky skein of yarn is worth $5, because they're just, you really can use a chunky skein of yarn really fast.
It's true.
But like a fingering skein, if I can finish a fingering skein, maybe that's worth like $12. So I might come up with something like that. But again, I'm really not super bothered by how much yarn I purchased this year, so I'll have to give that one another thought. But yeah, finishing some blankets, or at least making significant progress on some blankets. Continuing to spin more, using hand spun, that's another one. And then the Burke sweater. Those are the things that I do really want to focus on this year. So yeah.
I like it.
Yep. How about you?
My big thing is going to be finishing some whips.
Yeah.
I do have a multitude. I have enjoyed the past couple weeks finishing off a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I finished off a whole skein of yarn.
Yay!
Always an exciting time, because then you can mark it as all used up in Ravelry.
Yes.
And boy,
that's so nice. Oh my gosh.
Whew.
So I got to the point this year, sorry to interrupt, but I got to the point this year that my all used up number is now larger than my in stash number.
I don't think I will ever reach that point.
I also don't have all of my yarn in my stash.
Well.
But I mean, like, I don't have the latest skein from the book Snake in there, but I'm also going to finish that soon. So do I need to put it in? Who knows? That's kind of how I feel also. But, I also have a different method of tracking my yarn.
Right.
I'm not as dependent on Ravelry. Also, I mean, the hand spun is a lot easier to put into Ravelry because I put the fiber in and then it turns into yarn and it just ends up in your stash. But yeah, I did better about putting my new yarns, unless they were related to the book Snake, into my Ravelry stash Not so much the book snake yarn. Particularly like the remnants you gave me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, I don't know. It's some amount of blue.
Yep.
Big twist. I don't know. Whatever.
Big twist.
Big twist.
A lot of twists.
A lot of twists. Whatever. There will be a special video just of the book snake.
As there should be. Book snake is legend.
It is. At the end of November, it was 6 pounds. I've read a couple more books since then. Yeah. The other cat was trying to drink out of my mug. Mishka, he's not the manager. He just is the menace. The menace and the monster. But yeah.
How many books did you read this year?
How many books did I read, or how many things are on my story graph?
Let's go with the second one.
102?
And then how many did you read?
With my eyes? 27.
Oh, no. Audiobooks or books?
Audiobooks or books? Okay, yeah, 102.
Okay.
No, 103, because one of the books I read was not in Storygraph.
Oh.
Because I did this thing where I read a bunch of books on dance this year, and for some reason, I took all my books downstairs. But for some reason, Storygraph did not already have the book on training acrobatic dancing.
Weird.
In Storygraph. Yeah, from 1929.
I can't imagine.
Yeah,
why.
that wasn't in Storygraph for some reason.
That's
I
so
did
weird.
not feel compelled to add it to Storygraph. So 103.
103.
103. But again, like 26 or so with my eyeballs.
Okay.
So, but the rest were like, okay, I'm going to sit down and knit and listen to an audiobook. Admittedly at 2x speed, if not faster. Some of the ones that I've gone through several times I can listen to faster because I'm not really listening as much as remembering. You know, like really, I argue I can, in fact, listen to the Harry Potter books at 3x because I know what they're going to say next. You know? Like they're already in my brain, so I can listen to them a lot faster. I know those speech patterns. I don't listen to them that quickly when I'm spinning. When I spin to Harry Potter.
No.
I listen to it at 1x.
Spinning too fast.
No.
No.
Although I have been knitting the book snake at different rates depending on what the book is.
Interesting.
Yeah. Literary fiction, I knit slower in literary fiction than I do with fantasy. Which, okay. That's a thing that I know now. Is it worth knowing? Who knows? But I know it. Yeah. So then also speaking of Storygraph, there's the January page challenge.
Yes.
The January page challenge.
Yes.
Which I feel like we will both partake in because we like Storygraph.
We do.
Why do we like Storygraph? Because we like graphs. At least that was my reason.
Pretty much.
For switching to Storygraph. I got really mad at Goodreads a few years ago because they took away a graph. And I was like, I'm mad at you now.
I liked that graph.
I liked that graph. Does Storygraph have that? Not in the free version. Maybe the premium version, but I haven't paid for the premium version, so I still don't have that graph. But Storygraph has enough other graphs. And it works well enough that I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But they have a January page challenge where if you log, 1 page or 1 minute of an audiobook, then you get entered into a drawing at the end of the month, which I kind of don't care about the drawing.
Right.
It's kind of more like the habit and the streak. Yeah, definitely. So I feel like that's going to happen. I was thinking we could extend that, piggyback off of that.
Go on.
And then do like some amount of yarning a day. Whether I feel like 1 stitch isn't enough.
No.
But depending on what you're working on, a row might be too much.
Okay.
You know? So like 1 whatever as yet to be determined. I was also thinking like maybe you just set like a time
Okay.
section. Like say 26 minutes. For some reason.
Can I make mine 2.6 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
But yeah. And then, we'll go from there and see how that goes. But I was also thinking that maybe it might be a good thing to do in February.
Yeah, I will definitely aim for 26 minutes, but some days it's 2.6
Some days it's 2.6, and that's okay because you still picked up your yarn.
Yep.
Speaking
of which...
yay!
I have bound off
yay!
this baby sweater.
Okay, so let's actually talk about the things we're working on.
Yes.
You have now finished
my project.
The project.
Yep.
Which we're cutting it off of the skein so that way the final knot can be knotted, which
Yep.
Do that. And then we will be informed of the baby sweater.
Yes.
Don't fall. I have my yarn across the room.
So here it is.
It looks a lot more like that original knitting. Yeah, like that.
This is a
origami.
Yeah, something like that.
Except not, because origami's paper, but whatever. So I thought you had already seamed it in some of those pictures, but you had just folded it.
I just folded it.
Yeah.
So that I could unfold it and send pictures to our Knit Night chat and make them wonder.
That's true.
It's a baby surprise jacket.
It's a baby surprise
jacket. As in, surprise, this makes a jacket, even though it's a blob.
I love the little stripes. They're so cute.
Isn't it?
It's so cute.
It's really cute.
It's so cute.
I actually bought this yarn in 2014 to make a baby surprise jacket out of.
Did you?
I did. And I figured, well, I can make a baby surprise jacket out of it. And then I never did.
I will have made a baby surprise jacket out of it.
Until now.
You did.
And I did.
Hooray!
Yes.
It really is so cute.
Thank you.
It's so cute. What is it? What's the yarn?
Cute. So the yarn is Cascade Yarn Pinwheel, which is discontinued.
Yeah.
And I still have some, so not enough to make another jacket. No. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with it.
No, but
something.
That seems, because I thought I had looked at the baby surprise pattern at some point in my life. I think probably when my sister-in-law was pregnant with one of the children.
Most people have at some point.
I thought it was fingering.
It calls for jumper weight wool.
Okay, so I'm just making things up all over the place. Or there was a pattern that was very similar that called for fingering.
Could be. People make it out of fingering weight. They make it out of DK. They make it out of whatever they
But that is then like a worsted Aran kind of yarn?
This is a worsted Aran kind of yarn. Okay. And I made the regular size baby surprise jacket.
Yeah. And
it would not fit a newborn. That's for sure.
No.
So it will probably fit a 2-year-old. Which is great because I have a couple of 2-year-olds in my proximity.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I have this much yarn left over.
There you go.
What shall I make with it?
A hat to go with it.
Good idea.
Who would have wear the hat?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. There's the.
But I can't finish it. So here's the real interesting part. Yes. I decided to make a baby jacket or baby sweater because I have a project in my whips that is a sweater that uses a zipper. I've never put a zipper in anything. So actually, I take that back. I made a box bag one time under intense supervision by somebody who can actually sew and is a wizard. Shout out to Brittany. And I did fine doing exactly what I was told to do. So I've never put in a zipper, basically. And yeah, so
I'm just gonna start like more stalking your Ravelry, and just when you start talking about how you can't do things, throw up pictures of all the things you've done, like the chemistry mets.
Yeah.
She talks about these things like she can't do things.
I mean, I can. I just haven't yet. It's a growth mindset.
It's a growth mindset. You can do any of the things, Stephanie. Okay. But okay. We're going to work on Stephanie's confidence with new techniques this year, which honestly, the problem with that is other than the zipper, I don't know what other new techniques there are for Stephanie.
I don't either, to be honest.
Tatting? Do you know how to tat?
I don't know how to tat.
Okay.
That's a whole different craft.
We've got, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can attach them onto sleeves. So we'll work on zippers and I guess tatting, because I do have some tatting needles somewhere around here.
Oh, do you have a shuttle?
No, I have the needles.
Oh, okay.
That is definitely not the same as macrame.
Oh.
But yeah, no, it's tying knots. Like needle tatting is not the same as shuttle tatting. I do know that much.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have the needles. So
I'm interested in shuttle tatting, but I think it's because I just want to buy craft supplies for a new craft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the needle tatting they're very long tapestry needles. They're not tapestry needles, they're tatting needles, but they look like tapestry needles. They're not super exciting. And then you just use like the crochet thread.
It's really cute.
It is a really cute
I'm really
sweater,
pleased
though.
with it.
It's super cute,
really,
and it's gonna
really
look
cute.
so cute, and it's all garter stitched, so it's gonna be like so cozy and squishy on whatever small child actually gets it, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be adorable.
And I'm gonna need a 9-inch zipper.
A 9-inch zipper, yeah. And that was the thing. Like we went to Michael's just before this, and we were looking for a zipper, but none of their zippers actually opened. Right. They were all like craft zippers, not garment zippers. I mean, I guess it could have been like the back, or like the back of a dress, or like pants or something like that, but not jacket zippers.
Right.
So we have to source the jacket zipper there. But yeah. And then, you know, as I said earlier, I'm working on The Weekender by Andrea Mowry, but I have also taken inspiration from a pattern called Sock Arms, where it's a fingering weight sweater, and then I think the intention was you use sock scraps to just like make stripes up for sleeves. I don't know, because it is a paid for pattern and I have not paid for the pattern, but I have some stripy sleeves here and I think they're adorable and I'm happy about it.
They are.
So
adorable.
that is what's happening. Yeah, that's my statement about the sweater that I am working on. Is I'm putting little stripy sections in my sleeves because I can. There you go. I don't know. Do we have anything else?
Now I'm working on Down the Rabbit Hole socks.
Yeah.
Because I'm out of.
Because you're out of baby sweater.
Yep.
You're out of baby sweater, which was not a whip, but it was also 3 days, 2 days.
I started it the day after Christmas.
Okay, so 4. No. I feel like you started it the morning of the 27th.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was like fairly
I
new.
did.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. You're right.
Yeah. So 3 days on this new project. And we were discussing it, and you were like, what do I do now? And I was like, oh, yeah, the baby sweater, so we can talk about that zipper. And you're like, oh, I get to start a new project? And I was like, well, you did finish 5.
I did.
You haven't finished 5.
I deserve this. I deserve a little treat.
Yeah, definitely. And the treat is starting a new thing.
Yep.
Which isn't even a whip anymore. I mean, I guess technically it is.
It is, and it will be.
Still has to get seamed, and there still has to be a zipper. But like now, you have a new whip to carry into 2026.
Yes. Which I'm somehow excited about. Usually I wouldn't be.
Usually we wouldn't be, but it's kind of like back in the day when we were doing the house cup, and it was like you finish the thing, but don't weave in the end, so you can like put it into detention that very first day.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I had these ends hanging out. Now I don't, so I totally finished this thing.
Yep. It did train me to finish things.
You know, and if that's what works for you mentally, for you to like do the crafting things, hey, great. That's great, you know?
Yep. So yeah, I think basically my plan is to just keep crafting my face off.
Keep crafting.
And then go from there.
In between the bread.
Yes. All the bread.
All the bread.
So much
But
bread.
yeah. So yeah, I think you're just in the mode of keep on swimming.
Yes.
But I think the pick up your project and work on it for 2.6 minutes. I think that's going to snowball real quick for you.
I think so too.
I think that's going to snowball real quick. So yeah, we'll do that. And then I think like, obviously we have our methods of tracking our yarn that we have kind of honed over a couple of years. So we know those work. We know those work. But yeah, just a little bit of progress. And oh yeah, Burke sweater with Gilmore Girls.
I like it.
And the manager watching me with an hour of spinning a week, which is pretty doable. Yeah, it's not that big a deal. It's kind of, again, one of those things of like, once you get started, it's just really easy to keep going. You know, so yeah. Let us know what you're thinking of for the year. Let us know if you have like anything particular in mind, or if you're just gonna be a little bit more relaxed. The other thing that Instagram keeps telling me is nobody ever said your New Year's resolutions had to be for good.
True.
They could be for evil. They could be for chaos. They could be for weird. You know? So like, maybe your New Year's resolution is to bury yourself in yarn. In which case, good luck with that. Maybe get a snorkel.
I could do it.
You could do it.
I could do it.
You could do it, yes.
Yeah.
I do recommend a snorkel.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. But, yeah, let us know if you have any thoughts. If there's anything you're working on. If you're, you know, bringing anything into 2026, or if you're starting new things.
Tell us about your baggage.
Yeah. Or your system.
Or your baggage system.
Or your baggage system, exactly. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy